everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great week. This week I am working with the Chamel Little by Little collection for American Crafts, and I was particularly, hello, hard word to say, drawn to this word paper and this teal background paper. So I'm cutting out a few words that are coordinating with the photos that I'm doing today. And the photos I have here are of my daughter trying out for the cheer team last year. Now, this was a really odd thing because our family is not athletic, we don't take dance classes, and my daughter wanted to try out for cheer, and I kind of warned her a little bit, well, you haven't had dance, you haven't taken tumbling or anything like that. She's like, I know, Mom, I know, I just want to try it. And I'm like, all right, go for it. So her spunk and her happy spirit made up for it, I guess, because she actually made the team. Woohoo! And this is her on the day of the announcement. They announced the team online, and she's just pointing to her name on the screen. So anyway, I'm proud of that girl. That's the one thing I admire about her most, is her spunk and her determination and just her optimism. So that's what this page is about. I want to title it Hold to a Dream and Cheer Your Heart Out. So that's why I cut out these words, and I thought the rainbow and the clouds kind of go with the dream sort of theme, and then of course I will be adding hearts. So I placed the rainbow paper along the top and bottom, and I'm just trying out a few strips here to see which ones I like the most. And I decided to go with the yellow. I like the pop that it adds. And then I'm pulling out the cloud paper and cutting out a few little clusters of clouds. I choose this little polka dotty blue cloud, but later I actually switch that out because I decide that I want the solid blue to match the other solid blue letters of the title. So now I'm just kind of flipping through the accent stickers and the die cuts and deciding what else I can add. And I had thrown these little punched hearts in with this set, and that's when I'm like, oh duh, I'll add hearts. I do say the word heart in the title. And then I'm also kind of checking to see if these florals were worked in at all, if I could tuck them by the photos, but because I love a good floral, but I decided to leave the florals off. I'm not quite sure how to fill the space, to accent things, and I kind of struggle through the embellishing part of this page. So here's where I switch that cloud out to the darker blue one, and then I've made journaling strips and just popped those in there to make sure they fit. So this is the point where I'm deciding, okay, I'm not exactly sure where to go next, so I'll just stick down what I know I'm gonna do. So I'd stick the rainbow strips across the top and bottom, and then I take it over to my sewing machine and add some zigzag stitching in between each little color. Now I'm just securing the threads on the back with some washi tape that I don't use very often, and we'll skip that step because that's not very interesting to watch. Okay, so now I'm adding back on these yellow strips, and then I'll start to place the papers down, or I'm sorry, the photos. I had a few little threads poking out, but I decided, well, they kind of mix in with the little blue flecks in the background, so it's not that big of a deal. So here I'm getting everything back into place how I had it rough placed in the first place. Blah, blah, blah. I add some foam to the back of the clouds to just pop them up a bit. And here I'm just using some craft foam, just a trick I've learned from watching other YouTubers. I bought some craft foam from Michael's, and then I also picked some up at the Dollar Tree, which is thinner, and it's kind of nice to have a couple options of heights so you can, vary the heights and make little scenes. So it's kind of fun. After I get these clouds into place, I decide that I want to pop up the letters as well. So I flip them all over, and I'm using thin foam squares from Scrapbook adhesives, which I'm addicted to. They're like my favorite thing. They cut in half really well if you need to trim them down to fit into tighter spaces. And I usually just watch for sales on Joann and pick them up, pick several packages up when they have, you know, the scrapbook sale or the friends of family sale. And it works out. They're to be less than $2 a package, so I think that's not too bad. The pink letters I chose to complement the title are an older set from Bella Boulevard. I just temporarily placed that punch heart next to the T so it can help me know how to space out the last little word of out. And then I switched that punched heart out for these puffy heart stickers from Pebbles. These are from a Valentine collection, I think from 2016. They might be from 2015. I don't know. But they had them at Tuesday Morning and they're adorable, so I picked up a couple packages. You can see on the left of my screen I've pulled out a bunch of embellishments. That was because I wasn't sure what direction I was going to go. So I organized my embellishments by color families. So primary, brights, pastels, muted. So I went through and just kind of pulled out some random things that I thought might work. I'm just getting these journaling strips down. I stick them through my little Xyron X adhesive machine, and that makes it real easy. Another good way to stick those down is with a dot adhesive tape roller, and I just place them on like a scratch piece of paper and then do the dot adhesive over it. And the dots are great because they only stick to where it's contacting. Okay, so I'm moving on a little bit and I'm going to toy around with some different embellishment ideas. I pull out this Sundial by Echo Park paper, and I think I'm going to put a sun up in the clouds. So I grab some scraps from my stash and my little Sizzix sidekick. Now the plates on this aren't really, I don't think it was initially meant to use with thin metal dies, but I just cut down some chipboard and put that in there to make it a bit thicker, and it works fine with the metal dies. So I'm just using some scraps from my stash. That one right there is a super old one. Do you remember I think it was called Homegrown by Pink Paisley? That's probably the last little bit I have left of that paper. So I think I'm going to do the sun, and I'm going to pop up the center just to give it a little more dimension, and I just kind of set it there. But I don't know. It's not sitting with me. I don't know if I feel like it's taking up too much space in the top, or I don't know. So I'm trying out a few more things, and I'm place these flowers on there, and I'm like, no, those don't work. They're competing with the hearts and the clouds. So I'm still just flipping through all of my embellishments and trying some things. I find these little puffy stickers that my friend Amy gave to me, and I try the little pennants, and then I try the little words, and I end up sticking one of the little words there that says hello, and that's in honor of my friend Amy who gave me those stickers. And now I'm just trying a few more little things. I pull out these word stickers from Pebbles. This is an older collection, and I'm like, well, maybe I'll do some words, like kind of do a visual triangle of words. I've got the dream, I've got the cheer your heart out. Maybe I'll put some words up in that corner. And I try those butterflies. I decide I don't like the craft and the patterns, but I think, you know what? I do like the idea of butterflies. That goes along with the dream theme. You know, take flight, that sort of thing. Ugh, I'm fumbling on my words today, sorry. But I still flip through a few things thinking, well, I'm not sure. So I try some older Chamel. I try some older October Afternoon, Daily Flash. And this is a peek into my long, indecisive embellishment process. I try to cut out a lot of this, but I thought you might like to see that, yes, I struggle through this part too, but it's actually still my very favorite part to do. So my mind switches back to that word idea, and I cut off this strip from another piece of this Chamel paper, and it says happy, 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 and I think, you know what, that works, because that she was super happy that this happened and wasn't expecting it. So I leave that, but I decide we need another little bit of color. I find this pink strip, branding strip, but it has clouds all over it, and I'm like, no, too many clouds. So I grab this other pattern paper that has a pink subtle fleck on it, and I combine that with that. I'm happy with that, so I stick with it. But the sun feels like it's crowding it now, so that's when I decide to X the sun for sure. I'm wondering if I should add in some light pink hearts, but I decide against it. I decide to just keep all the hearts red. And I end up switching out that larger heart on the blue cloud to a smaller one eventually. I thought I did it right now, but maybe I do that in a minute. Okay, now the sun did help me decide that I liked the pop of yellow. And I go back to the butterfly idea and I pull out some of my Martha Stewart butterfly punches, and I just take a little scrap left over from the cutting of the suns and punch out several butterflies and just kind of play with them on the page for a minute. And I decide, yep, I like this. It fills the little odd spaces and I like the color. So I start messing with that. I do set the butterflies aside for a second, and I decide that my main photo isn't feeling very important. I don't know if it was the addition of the strips in the top right, but I feel like I need some color around the photos. So I put the butterflies aside for a second and decide to fiddle with that. So I have these cut apart cards from the Chamel collection, and I'm using the back side of them. It has kind of a pinkish purplish ledger pattern, and I decide to make a photo mat around the main photo. However, once I stick it on there, it feels a bit too blocky to me, and you'll see here, I don't know, I'm probably over analyzing it, but it just felt too many squares, I don't know. So I try to balance it with a little strip next to the smaller photos, and I make the decision to not do a perfectly square mat and just kind of do an offset layer behind the photo. And I end up adding in a little bit of yellow as well. So a little bit of yellow on the left, and then a little bit of yellow on the right. I tried the pattern of this, I'm just looking at the pattern of the yellow card, and I decide to use that, but I cut off that cute little journaling shape, thinking I can use that in a future project. So I'm super happy with that. Feels better, it feels right. I get it stuck down, and then I decide to move on to the butterflies. I staple the strips. I'm not sure if I like that in the end. I think I went a little too stapler happy. I probably should have just done it on the happy strip, but it's okay. It's done. And here I'm just grabbing a couple of different sizes of butterflies from my punch stash. I do this Martha Stewart one, and then I remembered, oh, I have a smaller Martha Stewart one, the little trio of butterflies. So I grab that and start adding a few little, messing with the different sizes. And I just fiddle with the sizes of the butterflies for a minute. So I like how I have the medium and small butterfly down by the word out, and later I come back and actually add a couple of smaller butterflies up by the word dream just to repeat that a little bit. And then I add some blue gems to the center of the butterflies, and I also sprinkle a few on the clouds, kind of reminding me of raindrops. And then I almost forget to add the hold to a dream. So I come back and do that. And then I also add a date sticker. Well, I thought I was filming, but I guess I missed a step. So I added this date here. I added the butterflies. And I can't decide if I want to keep these, but then I added hold to a dream. So there we go.